The woman across the hall was an extraordinarily alluring beauty. Every man in the building seemed captivated by her except my husband. Yet when the elevator plummeted, he completely forgot about our daughter Lily and me, turning instead to clutch Vivian against his body with such desperate force it seemed he wanted to press her into his very bones. Samuel and I both taught at the university, him in history, me in philosophy. My husband embodied quiet dignity with his meticulous habits, spotless apartment, an uncanny knack for household chores. My own temperament matched his orderly nature, favoring simple linen dresses and quiet weekends tending to our cats and orchids. For 4 years, our marriage had been a seamless tapestry of shared academic interests and compatible routines, never once disrupted by arguments. Samuel maintained cordial relationships with everyone except our neighbor Vivian. Objectively speaking, Vivian was stunning, full lips perpetually painted crimson, curves accentuated by bodycon dresses, her laughter echoing through the elevator shaft like wind chimes. Whenever we caught her lingering perfume in the hallway, our 4-year-old Lily would chirp, "Smells pretty. Aunt Viv's here," while Samuel would grimace as though breathing toxic fumes. The building's predominantly male tenants clearly appreciated Vivian's charms. We often heard her flirty banter echoing from the elevator, that throaty chuckle trailing behind her like perfume. One evening returning from our walk, we found her giggling with 6th-floor resident Mr. Duan in the lobby. "Ugh. This new shampoo's making my hair fall out," Vivian pouted, tossing chestnut waves as the elevator arrived. "Looks fine to me." Mr. Duan grinned. "Fine?" She shot a sidelong glance at Samuel standing rigidly against the wall. "It smells like cheap motel soap." As we exited on our floor, Vivian's stiletto caught the threshold. She tumbled straight into Samuel's chest, leaving 2 perfect lipstick imprints on his crisp white shirt. "Oops. My apologies, Professor Hart," she slurred, steadying herself against the wall. "Had one too many Cosmos at lunch." Samuel's jaw tightened. I quickly interjected, "Will you be all right alone tonight?" Vivian adjusted her dress with a wry smile. "Marcus is always traveling. Must be nice having a husband who actually comes home." Her gaze lingered on Samuel already striding down the hallway. That night, Samuel spent 40 minutes showering. When he emerged with damp hair, I glanced up from my book. "Everything okay?" "Couldn't stand smelling like a perfume counter," he muttered, vigorously towel drying his neck. Later during our nightly reading session, I stroked our tabby cat's fur. Why the particular dislike for Vivian? His pen hovered over the page. "Marcus works himself to the bone providing for her. Does she consider his dignity? History proves some women," he trailed off, jaw working. I suppressed a smile. The irony wasn't lost on me. Marcus had been Samuel's college roommate, the reason we bought this apartment in the first place. A year ago, Marcus Reed got married in his hometown and moved in with Vivian Brooks. Shortly after their wedding, Marcus was assigned to a 2-year project in Malaysia, leaving his wife alone in an empty house. Though I found Samuel's remarks somewhat exaggerated, he could be stubborn in certain matters. After that incident, Vivian became unusually formal around Samuel, acting demure and oddly submissive compared to her usual warmth around others. Whenever Samuel mentioned her afterward, his disapproval was evident in his eyes. On my birthday, our family of 3 went out for a celebratory dinner. We encountered Vivian stepping out of her apartment simultaneously. "Emily," she greeted me enthusiastically before patting Lily's head. When her gaze shifted to Samuel, she addressed him politely as Mr. Hart. Maintaining clear boundaries, Samuel gave a curt nod, his eyes fixed on the elevator display. Inside the elevator, Vivian stood in the right corner while Samuel occupied the center. Lily and I stayed on the opposite side. The doors had just closed when the elevator shuddered violently, plummeting downward. Weightlessness gripped us as I instinctively clutched Lily, my scream trapped in my throat. The sudden stop at the ground floor left me trembling. Turning around, I froze. Samuel was crushing Vivian in a desperate embrace. Their faces pressed together so tightly they seemed fused. "Don't worry, Daddy. We're safe." Lily's piping voice broke the spell. Samuel's eyes met mine, flickering with panic before he abruptly released her. I thought you were standing here," Samuel muttered through tight lips, frustration coloring his tone. "Ha ha. Silly Daddy. Mommy and I are over here." Lily giggled. Vivian stood breathless, staring at Samuel with dazed excitement shimmering beneath her shock. During the drive to the restaurant, Samuel took the wheel while Lily and I sat in the back. The silence grew thick until Samuel suddenly spoke. Eyes locked on the road. "Emily. About earlier, it happened so fast. I got confused." "Please don't." I finished tying Lily's hair ribbon with a final twist. What was that?" Samuel glanced at the rearview mirror. "What are you two doing back there?" "Mommy's fixing my braids," Lily announced. I smoothed her round cheeks. They came undone when I held her during the fall. "Just redoing them." His reflection showed puzzled hesitation. "You've been quiet this whole time, just doing her hair?" "I thought you." I turned to the passing neon lights, their dreamlike glow washing over us. "I'm actually starving. Heard this place is popular. Hope we don't have to wait." 2 evenings later, Vivian arrived at our door with lychees, her white décolletage dress clinging to damp hair. "Mr. Hart. Emily. These are from my hometown." Accepting the gift, I peeled one immediately. "Delicious. Though I prefer them chilled." Handing the bag to Samuel, he automatically transferred the fruit to clean containers before refrigerating them. Vivian blinked in surprise. Never imagined someone as accomplished as Mr. Hart would be so meticulous with household chores. Wiping lychee juice from my fingers, I smiled. Samuel's always been exceptionally capable at domestic matters. Thorough, organized, and detail-oriented. This arrangement suits me perfectly. Samuel walked over and settled onto one end of the sectional sofa, checking his phone. His position brought him alarmingly close to Vivian's armchair, their shoes nearly touching. Vivian subtly arched her back, eyes glinting as I tilted my head with an amused smile. "You came for a reason today?" I asked. Her lips curved triumphantly. "They say Professor Clark has uncanny intuition." "You're absolutely right. I've recently developed interest in history, but my foundation's weak." Since we're neighbors, she turned those luminous eyes toward Samuel. "Might I occasionally seek Professor Hart's guidance?" Samuel appeared engrossed in his phone, letting the question hang. Vivian nibbled her lower lip. Despite his academic renown, Samuel harbored intellectual elitism. After publishing 2 acclaimed historical works, he'd attended several banquets hosted by social climbers only to return disgusted. Now, whenever someone requested mentorship, he'd bluntly declare his intolerance for willful ignorance regardless of social niceties. Finally looking up from his screen, Samuel regarded Vivian with detached professionalism. "History demands relentless dedication. Do you possess such discipline?" "Of course." Vivian leaned forward eagerly, damp hair darkening the white fabric clinging to her chest. "I'll prove myself worthy of your time." I reclined against the cushions, observing as they compiled reading lists. My gaze drifted to the withering Japanese maple on the balcony, inexplicably failing despite meticulous care. Suddenly rising, I grabbed pruning shears. The pair froze mid-conversation. "Don't mind me." I smiled, snipping dead leaves. "Just some gardening." From then on, Vivian visited multiple times weekly, always appearing freshly showered with flushed cheeks and damp hair that perfumed the entire living room. Curled in the armchair, she'd pose breathless questions. Did King Yu of Zhou really light beacon fires just to make Bao Si laugh? Did she sure actually elope with Fan Li? Empress Dowager Cixi got pregnant while regent? Samuel lectured with uncharacteristic animation. Our evening reading sessions increasingly postponed. One night he explained, Marcus asked me to keep Vivian occupied. Better she's here studying than out drinking. As I stroked Lily our cat, he added, perhaps we'll use my study next time. Preserve your space here. His sanctum floor-to-ceiling bookshelves. Curated antiques. Custom lighting represented his intellectual inner world. Even Lily got shooed out when she wandered in. Meeting his gaze, I asked quietly, your decisions made? He nodded, then softened. Your comfort matters most. Emily. I continued petting the purring feline. Considering my response, I have no objections. Spring is the season of restlessness. The lazy cat had slipped out from the balcony at some point, and I had gone searching through the neighborhood with Samuel multiple times. That evening, returning empty-handed from my latest cat hunt, I found Lily playing alone with her toys in the living room. Samuel had been keeping her company downstairs earlier. Where's Dad? I asked. Aunt Vivian came over. My gaze drifted toward the slightly ajar study door where unsettling silence lingered. Slowly bending down, I released the cat from my arms. It darted toward the study, abruptly pushing the door open with its paws. Oh! Vivian's startled exclamation spilled out. Entering the room, I muttered, this cat's always causing trouble. Samuel sprang up from his chair, discomfort flashing across his features. Vivian's cheeks burned crimson, her breathing conspicuously unsteady. Scooping up the feline, I paused to glance at Samuel before leaving. Softly, I remarked, Samuel, you must be stressed. Your lip is even chapped. He hurriedly wiped his mouth with his knuckles. Voice gravelly. Yeah, stress. That weekend, Samuel cooked in the kitchen, his signature chili, glazed fish and caramelized banana fritters. Both my favorites. Though he handled most chores, I occasionally helped with simple tasks like folding laundry. Professor Guan's call came as I stared at a freshly washed white dress shirt. 2 vivid lipstick smears stained the chest panel. Methodically refolding it, I buried the garment deep in the closet. Emily, come join us tomorrow for your mentor's birthday, the professor insisted. A few former students are gathering. Replacing the shirt precisely, I smiled into the phone. Of course, Professor. Both Professor Guan and his wife, renowned philosophy scholars, had always championed me. Their intimate gathering featured wildly successful alumni, tech moguls, venture capitalists, and me, the ordinary college lecturer. Mrs. Guan squeezed my hand nostalgically. I never imagined you'd settle down first with family life. Though I suppose every woman walks that path eventually. Remember how I introduced you to Samuel? Nathan approached, handing me a PURT. The tech billionaire, 3 years my senior in grad school, watched me accept the cup before teasing. Had I known Mrs. Guan played matchmaker, I'd have begged for an introduction years ago. Our mentor shook her head. It wasn't intentional. Emily once asked how to accelerate her philosophical research. I suggested collaborating with a historian and recommended Samuel. Nathan's smile faltered as our eyes met. Later, Mrs. Guan insisted he drive me home. Leaning against his luxury sedan, he casually proposed, I'm privately funding an open-ended social research project. Unlimited budget. Interested? I pressed my lips together. Perhaps another time. You always say that. His chuckle held rueful familiarity as he kicked a pebble, momentarily resembling the lanky graduate student I once knew. Emily, sometimes I wish I'd studied history instead. Right? I studied him silently, brows slightly furrowed. Nathan's hand lifted halfway toward my hair, an aborted gesture from our university days, before retreating. Never mind. He sighed, smile returning like sunlight through clouds. I could never decipher your thoughts anyway. Ultimately, I still wanted to wait a few more years. What if, when we reached my apartment building, he got out to open the car door for me? I bid him a polite farewell. Emily, Nathan called out. I turned. He gazed at me intently before sighing. About the research project, if you don't want to participate, you could recommend someone else. I'll keep the spot reserved for you. The competition for this program is fierce. I gave a non-committal smile and waved. Goodbye. As Nathan's car drove away, Samuel approached carrying groceries, surprise coloring his features. Was that Nathan Scott from Radiance Tech? I nodded. He's my advisor's former student. Samuel's eyes lit up. He recently funded major grants for social science initiatives. I just submitted my application. You know him? I shook my head with a chuckle. Not really. My advisor just asked him to give me a ride. That evening while tending plants after walking Lily, I discovered my prized red maple missing from the balcony. During my frantic search, I overheard voices from Vivian's apartment across the hall. Since the incident where Lily barged in, Vivian had insisted Samuel tutor her there. Ms. Clark. She'd teased. I feel terrible interrupting your time with Lily. Since my place is empty, why don't we have lessons here? You're welcome to check on us anytime, I'll keep the door wide open. The door stood ajar as promised. I lingered near the threshold. Mr. Hart. Vivian's voice carried a playful lilt. Aren't you worried, Miss Clark might mind us spending so much time together? Samuel chuckled, the sound vibrating with quiet confidence. She wouldn't dare. Why? His tone shifted to that familiar lecturing cadence I knew so well. Emily's different from you. Beneath that easygoing exterior lies a calculating pragmatist. She understands this household operates under my leadership. I'm the best opportunity within her reach. Once I decide something, she won't oppose it. Has she shown any displeasure toward you lately? Not at all. Vivian breathed in dawning comprehension. When Samuel returned, I sat stroking Lily's fur. He seemed unusually cheerful. Come to think of it, why has our escape artist stopped wandering lately? The purring ball in my lap stretched luxuriously as I answered in honeyed tones. Too troublesome. I had her neutered. Vivian's demeanor shifted imperceptibly afterward. Gone were the bubbly greetings and mess. Clark! Exclaimed with sunbeam brightness. Now she offered faint smiles heavy with unspoken superiority, a peacock preening in shadows. Radiating condescension laced with pity. Samuel kept his nightly tutoring ritual across the hall. Each return brought subtle alterations, lingering traces of jasmine perfume. A carelessly unbuttoned collar. Faint teeth marks blooming on his wrist. Vivian began delivering fruit baskets, insisting with saccharine determination. I can't let Mr. Hart teach for free. These are just small tokens of appreciation. During these performances, Samuel would sit ramrod straight on the sofa, the ghost of a smirk playing on his lips. The dynamic crystallized, she. All vibrant audacity, he. Composed restraint. A dance of fire and shadow unfolding in our sterile hallway. The living room on that midsummer night buzzed with unspoken tension. Vivian had brought a watermelon. While watering plants on the balcony, I was wrapping up a call with my mentor's wife when Lily complained of thirst. Samuel sliced the fruit, handing a piece to Lily. When offering Vivian a slice, she declined with a theatrical pout. I detest sticky fingers. She simpered, batting her lashes at Samuel. I only drink watermelon juice. As Samuel retreated to the kitchen, Vivian suddenly approached the balcony where I stood. Her abrupt movement collided with Lily, who instinctively grabbed Vivian's pristine white dress. 2 crimson handprints bloomed across the fabric. Clumsy brat! Vivian shrieked, shoving the child to the floor. Lily's wails summoned Samuel bearing a frosty glass of juice. Through trembling lips, Vivian choked out. It's fine, but this was a Diane von Furstenberg original. Samuel's jaw tightened as he pulled Lily upright. Apologize to Aunt Vivian. Now. But Daddy. Lily hiccuped. Aunt Vivian pushed. Enough. Samuel's voice cracked like ice. Take responsibility or face consequences. Entering from the balcony, I found Lily trembling. As I wiped juice-stained hands with Kleenex, Samuel glared. Emily, your coddling will ruin her. Vivian's smirk dripped venom. Without breaking eye contact, I seized the sweating glass. Crimson liquid cascaded over her highlighted hair, pooling in the décolletage of her ruined dress. Samuel's roar shook the room. Have you lost your mind? The crack of my palm meeting his cheek silenced everything. Pathetic coward. I hissed. Dawn found me lounging on the Chesterfield, peeling lychees as Samuel dragged suitcases past. Our tabby purred at my feet. You're unhinged. He spat. Vivian could press charges. I'm taking Lily. She stays. I popped a translucent fruit into my mouth. Run along to Marcus. Let's see how long your precious Brooks heiress tolerates playing stepmommy. The door slammed. Juice trickled down my wrist. Sweet and glacial. Sure enough. Chilled lychees taste best. After wiping my hands, I picked up my phone and dialed. Ethan Gray. Emily. I'm here. A young man's voice answered. Steady and resonant. How's it going? I lifted the cat onto my lap, idly stroking its fur. Ethan responded. I've reviewed the footage multiple times. The woman initiated flirtation initially. Then the man stopped resisting. There were multiple instances of physical intimacy, but the camera angle didn't capture embraces or kisses due to positioning. So it's not conclusive evidence yet? Correct. Emily. If you could send follow-up videos showing increasingly inappropriate behavior, we'll obtain damning evidence soon. The cat nudged my palm, purring demandingly. I sighed and resumed petting. Nothing more. They've switched locations from the study. Ethan paused. I could install hidden cameras, though illegally obtained evidence might get dismissed. Alternatively, you could check Mr. Samuel's devices for explicit messages or compromising photos with both faces visible. Why bother? I interrupted coolly. Silence. Don't we just need intimate photos? My laugh held Winter's edge. Photoshop works wonders. 2 heartbeats passed before Ethan replied. Understood. Emily. As I moved to hang up, he added urgently. Emily. This month's profits are deposited. You should check the account, it's been months since you logged in. My lips curved. Ethan. You always fuss over trivialities. Remember what I told you? Yes. His voice deepened with conviction. You said we're each other's most trusted allies in this world. Exactly. I'd found Ethan bleeding outside a nightclub when I was 19. 15 then. His aristocratic features visible beneath bruises. Those obsidian eyes blazing with familiar defiance, mirroring my late brother's spirit. I'd spent my last dime rescuing him from loan sharks demanding flesh payment for his father's debts. For years he haunted my brother's old room while I attended college. A ghost surviving on takeout and stock markets. During visits, I'd drag him for haircuts and steak dinners, watching silent intelligence crystallize behind his gaze. He first handed me $1. 400 earnings from the $140 monthly allowance I'd given him, inherited financial acumen from his bankrupt tycoon father. After repeated successes, I entrusted him with the $2. $8 million from my family's fatal car crash settlement. He never gambled, only calculated. I gently told him that in life, there are moments when you have to take risks. His eyes flickered. What if I fail? He asked. Then you fail. I replied with a smile. He won. The initial $2 million investment had multiplied dozens of times over the years. though he later shifted from aggressive ventures to conservative portfolios. The monthly returns deposited into our shared account remained staggering. Neither of us touched it much. These days, he remained holed up in that apartment, glued to his screens, avoiding real-world interactions. Except with me. Emily, are you planning to divorce him? Ethan asked. I didn't answer, my gaze drifting to the balcony where the crimson maple once stood. Only a faint outline remained on the floorboards. Sighing, I set down the cat and smoothed my dress. Ethan, what do men value most? He considered seriously. By society's standards? Reputation, career, wealth, family, friendships. Then we'll dismantle them one by one, I said, rising. The surveillance footage compilation initially gained little traction, just another viral post about home camera security risks. Then patterns emerged. That couple in the study, are they having an affair? The wife barely leaves the room before they're locking lips. He looks so respectable. Who'd expect cheating in his own home? Wait, doesn't he resemble Professor Hart from our history department? The comment thread exploded. Zoomed screenshots revealed textbooks with university logos. Students mobilized like digital vigilantes. As Professor Clark's former student, I confirm that's Samuel Hart from the history department cheating in broad daylight. The university's eventual statement suspended teaching duties pending investigation. When Samuel returned days later, his haggard appearance shocked me, unkempt beard, hollow eyes, yet still defiant. You've seen the video and notice? He demanded, voice strained. I nodded beneath my face mask. Since we're married, you deserve to know it's fabricated, he declared. Forensic experts confirmed video manipulation. This is foreign hackers creating sensational content. Vivian Brooks and I never. His voice cracked. You can rest assured there was no inappropriate contact. After a dramatic monologue trailed off, the room plunged into silence. I glanced up at Samuel through lowered lashes. He stood at the door with his chin slightly raised. Posture rigidly perfect. 1 foot lingering halfway across the threshold. His hand still gripped the luggage handle. Every muscle projecting reluctant return. But the tightness around his mouth betrayed him. Those intense eyes burning with theatrical martyrdom, some modern-day Nathan Hale awaiting execution. The absurdity almost made me smile, though the face mask plastered across my features hid the twitching corners of my mouth. If not a passionate kiss, I murmured, tilting my head. What about a gentle one? Samuel stiffened imperceptibly. What do you think? He retorted after a beat, layering his voice with scornful disappointment that didn't quite reach his eyes. I let the question hang, smoothing my tone into mild reminder. By the way, Marcus is back. Who? His brows knitted. Who's back? Marcus. Samuel's eyes widened. When? Why didn't he? The words died as my gaze drifted over his shoulder. He whirled around to find Marcus glowering in the doorway. Face thunderous. Samuel! Marcus roared, veins bulging at his temples. You dare sleep with my wife. The fist connected with Samuel's jaw before anyone could blink. Impact echoing like a butcher's cleaver meeting meat. Samuel collapsed backward. Blood sprayed out, leaving a crimson arc in the air as 2 molars sailed across the room, clattering as they rolled across the floor. 30 minutes later, I pressed an ice pack to Samuel's swollen face. He hissed through missing front teeth, each pained exhale whistling comically. On the sofa, Vivian sniffled dramatically, cheeks still flushed from Marcus's earlier slap. Marcus himself paced like caged panther, hands planted on hips. You expect me to buy this act? Marcus wheeled on them. Since when do you two play nice? That video showed your hands everywhere but prayer position. Vivian's tears renewed. I swear on my family's lives, if that footage was real. May we all get hit by trucks tomorrow. The violent oath gave even Marcus pause. He turned narrowed eyes on Samuel. You actually filed a police report? Damn right I did. Samuel slurred around swollen lips, rallying with wounded dignity. The cybercrimes unit said it could be overseas hackers. Or personal sabotage. I only tutored Vivian because you begged me to. If we were involved, don't you think Emily would have noticed first? Marcus's glare shifted to me. Well, Emily? I tilted my head, considering. Samuel's theory holds merit. His visible eye blinked in surprise, gaze softening with unexpected gratitude. A bandaged hand twitched toward mine. I set down the ice pack and rose smoothly, letting his fingers grasp empty air. How so? Marcus demanded. Remember my prized Japanese maple? I adjusted my glasses. It vanished last week from the balcony. Samuel would never touch it. Which means, I let the implication linger like gunpowder smoke. I turned to Samuel and asked, don't you agree? Samuel blinked before nodding. Absolutely. The matter eventually fizzled out. Marcus dragged Vivian away, skepticism lingering in their expressions. The resolution came at the cost of Samuel losing 2 front teeth from those punches. That evening, Samuel prepared my favorite dishes despite his battered face, solemnly expressing gratitude. I never imagined you'd stand by me so firmly during this crisis. Our marital bond truly withstands trials. Thank you, Emily. Don't mention it. I smiled, handing him my bowl. Another serving of soup, please. 2 days later, while Samuel furiously typed arguments on his burner account, police officers arrived. His eyes lit up. Officers! Did you catch the culprit? Caught who? The officer frowned. We're here to investigate the initial report. Who filed this? Samuel froze as I stepped forward. That would be me. Emily. Why file another report? Samuel protested. I already handled this. Ignoring him, I pointed to the balcony. The stolen bonsai was displayed here originally. Samuel approached incredulously. You called the police over a missing plant? Your earlier words inspired me. I explained calmly. If the person framing you also stole the planter, catching the thief solves both issues. That container's size would have required conspicuous transportation. Samuel paled. This is ridiculous. No officer would. Ordinarily true. The policeman interjected. But this involves a $300. 000 theft. Serious felony. 300,000? Samuel choked. For a flower pot? There must be mistake. I produced documentation. The Japanese maple cost $30. 000. The rosewood planter's auction certificate shows $280. 000. Samuel gaped at the papers. That ugly pot. How could you afford this? Returning from security footage review, an officer showed his phone. Recognize this woman? My hand flew to my mouth. That's Vivian. Our neighbor. Footage showed Vivian carrying the planter from our apartment to hers. Samuel began sweating. Officers. This is misunderstanding between friends. We'll retrieve it privately. Why the nervousness? Mr. Hart? The officer's gaze sharpened. As one officer stayed, another knocked on the neighboring door. Within minutes, Vivian stormed in, followed by livid Marcus. Samuel gave me this. It's not theft. Tell them. Samuel. Remember when I admired it? Inconceivable. I gasped. Samuel knows this bonsai is my treasure. He mentioned its theft days ago. Unless you've both deceived me? Samuel stood paralyzed, eyes darting between Marcus and me. Vivian yanked his arm tearfully. Confess now. They're saying 10-year sentence. Samuel's fists clenched and unclenched, chest heaving. After agonizing moments, he gritted his teeth, I gave that to her," I exclaimed, stumbling backward before collapsing onto the couch. Marcus's face darkened as he glared at Samuel. The moment the police officer closed the door, Marcus suddenly lunged. He first slapped Vivian several times until she crumpled to the floor, then began raining furious blows on Samuel. "You fucking bastard! Still claiming you didn't screw her? You'd never give such expensive gifts to this slut unless you'd gotten between her legs. You two timing snakes have been playing me all along," Marcus roared, his voice cracking. "I treated you like a brother. You fuck my wife then make me the laughingstock? I swear to God. Samuel, I'll make you pay for this." Vivian's terrified screams filled the air. I covered my face miserably, burying my head in the couch cushions. The sickening thuds of fists meeting flesh, enraged shouts, choked sobs, and desperate pleas for mercy dragged on interminably. I yawned. Samuel ended up hospitalized with catastrophic injuries, shattered nose, fractured brow bone, a chunk of scalp torn out, 4 teeth missing. Notably, Marcus had focused his rage entirely on the face. One might speculate he'd long resented Samuel's handsome features. The once refined, scholarly-looking Samuel now resembled a grotesque patchwork of swollen purple flesh and surgical stitches. When I brought Lily to visit, her wide eyes darted around the hospital room. "Mommy, where's Daddy?" I gestured to the bandaged figure on the bed. Lily stared, lower lip trembling, before bursting into tears. "Daddy's not a monster. I'm scared. Mommy, the monster's scary." Samuel emitted a muffled groan through his wired jaw. Lily yanked my hand desperately, dragging me toward the exit. Citing emotional trauma and childcare responsibilities, I hired a nurse for Samuel and never returned. A week later, Samuel discharged himself against medical advice. He walked through our door just as I received notification emails about 2 of my academic papers winning national awards, another milestone achieved. Leaning back on the couch, I exhaled slowly, eyes closed. "Emily," Samuel rasped, his voice thick with remorse. "Please don't be upset. I saw all those plants on your balcony and thought one more wouldn't matter. You have to believe me, Vivian, and I never, not what Marcus thinks." I opened my eyes. "Define what Marcus thinks." He flinched, the uneven swelling making his expression comically lopsided. "Sleeping together," he muttered with visible disgust. I tilted my head, almost amused. "So physical infidelity is your only benchmark for betrayal? Must you phrase it so crudely?" We studied each other in silence until the stalemate grew tedious. I dialed Ethan. He answered halfway through the first ring. "Professor Clark." "Ethan, I'm filing for divorce." 2 heartbeats of silence. "Understood. What do you need?" "The house. Liquid assets. Full custody of Lily. Oh, and a pristine public image. Tenured professors can't afford gossip. Realistically, the property settlement isn't worth your time," came his pragmatic response. I smiled. "True. But why let him keep what's mine?" Through my peripheral vision, I watched Samuel's bandaged face contort, whether from physical pain or emotional wounding. I couldn't tell. Nor did I care. "Got it. What do you need me to do? Just send out the remaining stuff?" I said casually. "Did he really wrong you?" "How dare he?" Ethan's voice suddenly rose, his tone carrying suppressed anger. He rarely showed such emotional volatility. I paused. Since when did he call me Emily? He immediately regained composure. "Apologies. Ms. Clark. I just don't want you feeling hurt by their actions." My voice softened. "Don't worry. I'm fine." Ethan hesitated. "You want me to release those materials, so they actually slept together?" "Not yet. Then he could easily prove his innocence." "Shouldn't we wait longer?" "Nah. I'm getting physically repulsed just looking at him now. He'll get what's coming eventually. I yawned. Release it first. I'll make sure he follows up soon enough. As surveillance footage controversies subsided, explosive bedroom photos emerged online. Though private parts were pixelated, Samuel's face remained crystal clear. The high-resolution images practically echoed with his breathy murmurs. Students erupted again. The previous video scandal had been hastily dismissed as maliciously altered footage. But such stains linger like stepping in dog shit even after thorough cleaning. You can't shake the mental image of contaminated shoes. Even if the passionate kiss was fake, their undeniable chemistry spoke volumes. Now these leaked photos, actually Ethan's expensive deepfakes, fueled endless debates, dissected with more enthusiasm than academic discussions. Samuel's planned class resumption got postponed indefinitely. He swore to me with theatrical gestures, more frame jobs. The truth will prevail. Police will clear my name. Terrified of Marcus' retaliation, he became a paranoid recluse, peeking through door cracks like a frightened ostrich whenever Lily came home. My disgust grew daily. That afternoon, he burst from his study waving enlarged photos. Flaws found. Look! He lifted his shirt excitedly. My belly button's elongated. The photo shows a round one. Plus my lower abdomen scars missing here. This proves face swapping. When pounding came at the door, he sprinted to answer. Marcus and Vivian stood there clearly summoned. Samuel repeated his evidence with frantic energy, spittle flying through sunlight beams as he gestured wildly, gap-toothed from previous beatings. I blinked disorientedly. Was this the same man who'd once analyzed historical events with scholarly detachment? The same intellectual who'd pontificated about humanity's grand narratives with condescending brilliance? Somehow, his shirt-flapping forensic analysis convinced Marcus. The latter clearly realized 2 violent assaults left him legally vulnerable. With forced contrition, Marcus apologized to Samuel. Samuel, I'm sorry. You know I'm a rough guy at heart. Grew up getting beaten by my parents. When something like this happens, I can't help but act impulsively. Don't blame me. I stood up and approached him gently. This was an undeserved calamity. Now that everything's clarified, let's celebrate properly and put this behind us. Samuel's eyes were bloodshot, wearing the expression of someone finally vindicated yet wallowing in self-pity. 2 silent tears traced his cheeks. Random disaster. Heaven tests those destined for greatness. That evening, I dropped Lily off at the babysitter's downstairs, ordered takeout, and uncorked 2 expensive bottles of wine. The 4 of us sat around the table swirling with charged emotions. What a pity your method of proving innocence can't be publicly disclosed to the university. I sighed. Samuel, who rarely drank, downed a glass with tragic determination. The police are already arranging technical experts to crack the case. Enduring this slander a while longer means nothing. Truth always surfaces eventually, as long as my wife and friends believe in me. Vivian sniffled delicately, her tear-streaked face resembling rain-drenched pear blossoms. Since Marcus's return, weeping and curses had constantly drifted from their apartment. Her face often bore greenish bruises and red marks, making neighbors avoid the couple like plague carriers. Now she drained her glass, thanking Samuel. Professor Hart, thank God you were smart enough to prove my innocence. Otherwise, with Marcus misunderstanding me like this, I wouldn't want to live anymore. Marcus flushed with guilt. I'll punish myself with 3 drinks to apologize. As he stood to drink, a clipped pill tablet fell from his pocket. His face tightened as he swiftly retrieved it. The trio kept drinking until visibly intoxicated. Marcus staggered up first. Keep going. I need to rest. When I helped him home, I photographed the pill. Ethan replied immediately, 4 letters glaring from my screen. Returning. I found Samuel and Vivian flushed and slurring. Suddenly Vivian tore open her blouse, exposing pale trembling flesh. Look. Samuel. See this red mole? Marcus loves kissing it. That woman in the photos doesn't have it. It wasn't me. Samuel stared dumbly, bloodshot eyes glazing. He'd locked himself in his study these past days obsessively examining those explicit photos. Though knowing they were doctored, the images felt disturbingly authentic, the woman's sultry gaze. Provocative poses. Their eyes met. Vivian involuntarily moaned. Whatever connection they'd previously suppressed now surged unrestrained through shared humiliation and accusations, swelling violently with alcohol-induced heat. I lingered at the doorway, Ethan's message burning in my hand, when their entangled gazes reached breaking point. I stepped inside. Samuel frowned irritably. Emily, where were you? Standing by the dining table. I held his gaze. Samuel, let me ask you a professional question. His expression brightened at the familiar academic ritual. Shoot. From a historiographical perspective, what ultimately determines an individual's destiny? He smiled smugly. Their choices within specific circumstances. Of course. So external forces can't interfere? Temporary alterations can't change eternal trajectories. He declared with drunken grandeur. Both historical tides and personal fates must answer for their choices. Once made, decisions flow like mighty rivers, irreversible. Vivian whimpered, her pale hand creeping up Samuel's thigh. Ugh. This is so annoying. Can we stop talking about all this irritating stuff? You're killing the mood. Samuel looked down at his legs. Adam's apple bobbing. I lowered my gaze and walked out of the room. That night, I took Lily to stay at a hotel. We didn't return home until noon the next day. By then, Samuel was completely sober, sitting refreshed on the couch reading a book just like his old self. I'd texted him earlier explaining we'd stayed at a hotel because the door was locked and no one answered when we knocked. When he saw me, he smiled apologetically. After the Reeds left yesterday, I got completely drunk. Didn't hear you knocking. My eyes lingered on the red scratches across his neck as I returned the smile. No problem. You don't drink often anyway. First time. Then comes the second. The third. When Marcus caught them naked in bed and started beating them savagely. I was conveniently bringing home several students from the school newspaper. They'd come to interview me about my writing environment after I won that national-level award for my thesis. The timing wasn't entirely accidental. From Samuel's perspective, as Marcus pummeled him in that bed, he saw countless eyes burning with humiliation and despair. But Emily's eyes, those he'd never forget. Shock. Sorrow. Anguish. Helplessness. She was always so rational. Gentle. Compromising yet fragile. I failed her. I don't even know how Vivian and I ended up like this. When Marcus first brought Vivian around, I despised her. Those bold eyes radiated naked ambition. So unlike Emily's soft grace. Our private encounters always felt excessive. In elevators, she'd stare openly before sighing. Mr. Hart, your eyelashes are so long. She'd knock on my door begging. Help me with this zipper? I hurt my wrist and Marcus isn't even here. Once she rushed over half-drenched, claiming a gecko in her shower needed removing. After chasing the non-existent lizard away, she collapsed against me. The floral perfume, the pliant warmth, my body betrayed me instantly. Disgusted with myself, I doubled down on coldness until even Emily noticed. I'm just upset on Marcus' behalf. I lied. When she shifted her flirtations to other men in the building, I burned with jealousy. Dreams of her trembling beneath me haunted my nights. My carefully constructed indifference crumbled until the elevator malfunctioned, my arms instinctively wrapping around her. Emily filed for divorce. I knelt confessing my filth through tears. Her tender heart couldn't muster cruelty. Only pity. For years of marriage, she'd pursued me first. Loved me completely. And I destroyed it all. I signed the divorce papers without hesitation, knowing no punishment could ever atone. The scandal got me fired. I lost everything: home, career, love, money, reputation, all these years. The life I'd painstakingly built through talent and hard work crumbled to dust overnight. I became a man with nothing. When Vivian was cast out by Marcus, she refused to return to her hometown or seek conventional employment. Gaunt and haggard, her face still bearing bruises from Marcus' fists, she appeared at my door with eyes burning through me. "You slept with me, you have to take responsibility," she spat, her features twisted with bitterness. "This is all your fault. I'll haunt you forever." Watching her distorted expression, I felt physical revulsion at the memory of yearning for her during those lonely nights. I knew escape was impossible, confrontation had never been my strength. With Emily, conflicts dissolved like morning mist. I'd mistaken our harmony for my own emotional intelligence, only now realizing it was Emily's naturally detached temperament that shaped our dynamic. Nothing ever truly touched her. Vivian invaded my cramped apartment. To survive, I delivered takeout and worked as a designated driver. History taught me fortunes rise and fall. Philosophy whispered about cyclical renewal. I clung to the belief that Emily still loved me. She'd been the one to approach me first. After all, she'd pursued me relentlessly, even accompanying me to visit my family. To gain their approval, she'd privately arranged comprehensive medical checkups for my entire relatives. That meticulous care she reserved solely for me, and I'd shattered her purest devotion. 6 months later, while waiting outside an upscale restaurant for my next driving client, I saw her. At first glance, I didn't recognize the vision: hair swept into an elegant chignon revealing a swan-like neck, black evening gown shimmering under diamond earrings that rivaled the stars. She stood regal and untouchable, until Nathan emerged from the rotating doors to drape his jacket over her shoulders. Her smile as she turned toward the CEO of Riafon Tech pierced deeper than winter. I remembered her casual dismissal years ago, just my mentor's student. Now they stood bathed in golden light, their murmured conversation carrying fragments of intimacy. "Let's honeymoon in France." "Emily. Can't." New thesis proposal deadlines. Nathan's hand settled possessively on her shoulder. "You could be completely yourself with me." When she remained silent, he pressed, "I understand your ambitions better than anyone. You chose him because he fit your criteria, use me instead. I'll provide everything he couldn't. The finest labs. Unlimited resources. Just learn to love me." The night air crystallized in my lungs. Emily gazed at the moonlit clouds, her profile reflecting the same serene detachment I'd once mistaken for affection. In that moment, I understood my role had always been interchangeable, another variable in her relentless pursuit of perfection. The realization tasted like ashes. Emily Clark's hair fluttered in the evening breeze as her lips curved into a smile. "Okay," she whispered softly. Nathan Scott, eyes rimmed red, embraced her with trembling emotion. I drifted through the streets like a soulless ghost. Her words ricocheted violently through my mind, rearranging themselves into horrifying patterns. Suddenly, I remembered our first meeting, how Emily had approached me saying, "My mentor's wife recommended you." With shaking hands, I dialed the mentor's wife. We'd visited her and Professor Guan every mid-autumn festival for years. "Samuel?" Her voice held wary surprise through the phone. Choking back emotions, I demanded, "Just tell me one thing, why did you introduce me to Emily?" The long silence broke with a sigh. "She needed a research partner, but Samuel, she must have loved you too. Why else would she marry you?" The call ended. I curled forward, head buried in knees as floodgates of memory burst open. Her casual remark over tea: "Optimal childbearing years are 25 for women, 27 for men. I'll reach mine next year, so will you." Her inspecting my spotless dorm room: "You enjoy housework?" When I boasted about cooking skills, Her approving not bad. Her seemingly innocent question weeks later, are your grandparents long-lived? My affirmative answer had lit satisfaction in her eyes. She'd prioritized completing life's fundamental tasks, guarded our nightly discussions religiously, insisted on full family medical checkups. I found Vivian Brooks rummaging through boxes in my shabby rental. Old mementos strewn across the floor. Why are you touching my things? My scream scraped raw. Trash! She spat, hurling a notebook at my face. Pages splayed open midair, revealing Emily's elegant script. From love springs fear. From love grows dread. Abandon love's chains. Peace dwells instead. Laughter erupted from my gut, wild and unhinged. Vivian recoiled as I gasped through tears. That fool actually begged her for love. Darkness swallowed me whole. 3 days later. Hospital fluorescents glared above. The doctor's HIV diagnosis burned my retinas. Vivian's wails echoed, Marcus Reed infected me overseas. My life's over. My soul plummeted through endless void. At the airport awaiting my Paris honeymoon with Nathan, Ethan Gray's call came. He'd vanished after my abrupt wedding 3 months prior, though this wasn't his first disappearance. Ethan? Silence answered. Then the line died. I shrugged. Everyone has secrets. He'd reappear eventually. Like always. I smiled and called out to him. Ethan Gray. Where are you? His voice remained calm and steady, filled with quiet strength. I'm in Nepal. I blinked in surprise. Why Nepal? Ethan replied patiently. Emily, you once said after studying the relationship between philosophy and history, you'd come to Nepal to research philosophy and religion. I tilted my head. I did say that. But I changed my research sequence. This thesis proposal focuses on philosophy and sociology. Ethan, I'm not going to Nepal anymore. I want to spend a few years experiencing the diverse lives across social strata first. Ethan said serenely. I know. But it doesn't matter. I'll wait here regardless. Emily, you'll eventually come. Won't you? I stayed silent. So did he. Ahead. Nathan walked over holding Lily's hand. His smile bright as he called out, Time to board. Lily and I beat you. Lily giggled triumphantly. Mom's so slow. Daddy and I won. I whispered into the phone. Who knows what the future holds? Before hanging up, with renewed resolve, I walked toward my family. Emily Clark's next chapter had begun.